Welcome to my YouTube video lecture series of the subject Basic Electrical Engineering. Myself Pankil Shah. So in today's video, I am going to discuss about the chapter number 5, and the chapter number 5 is the electric installation. In electrical installation, we will begin with this topic. So the topics are: first is the component of LT switch gear. So the for low tension switch gear, we are using different components to protect that electric system, and that components are as follows: that are the switch fuse unit, that are the MCB, ELCB, and MCC. So these all components are useful for the protection of electric system. Next topic we will discuss later on, that will be the types of wires and cables. We will also discuss the construction of different type of cables. Then we will discuss the earthing and its types. Then some safety precaution for the electric appliances, that is going to discuss later on. Then we will discuss different type of batteries and its characteristics. And at the last moment, in the last topic of this chapter, we will discuss the elementary calculation for the energy consumption and the importance of power factor and the methods to improve the power factor of any electric system. In this chapter, let's discuss the important precautions we have to take while working with any electrical instrument or any electrical system. So the first important factor of precaution is the electric shocks are usually received and can be easily avoided by being careful. Second is a great care should be taken against the electric shock while working on the line, whether the conductor is insulated or the bare. Means you do not have to touch that conductor while it is insulated or it is the bare conductor. Never work with the bare feet. Always wear the rubber shoes while working with any electrical device, component or the system. In case of electric shock, victim is still in contact with the system or a supply, which you cannot immediately switch on. So insulate yourself with help of the wood or any other insulating material to release the victim. Don't directly touch the victim, otherwise you will also get the electric shock. So always you have to take care whenever some person is in directly contact with any electric line, then you have to use the insulating medium and then you can protect that person from that. The ladder should always be held by the another person while working on the overhead lines so that it might not slip away. Next precautions are the phase or the positive wire should always be connected through the switch. It cannot be connected directly. Before energizing the line, check that there is none of the working on the main line. Means no person should work on the main line, and then you can turn on the lines. Before replacing the blown fuses, always switch off the main switch or the main supply. Before taking a table fan or the portable appliances from one place to another, disconnect it from the supply. Do not disconnect the flexible wire of an electric equipment from the socket by do not touch any electrical installation without any permit. Overhead lines should never be touched unless you are sure that it is dead and properly earthed. Next is the before starting the work, ensure that you are authorized to do that type of work. Do not tamper any electric protective or interlocking gears unless you are authorized. So this was the safety precaution for electrical appliances that you have to take care, and this may cause the electric shock if you do not take care of these steps. Now, today's video is all about the power factor. So let's discuss the importance of power factor. Power factor is nothing but the cosine of the angle between voltage and current, and it is denoted by as cos phi. The voltage and current that we have taken, the angle between that voltage and current should be the same appliance the voltage and same appliance current. So this was the first definition. Second definition of power factor is the ratio between resistance to the impedance of any circuit. Third definition of power factor is given by the power factor is nothing but the ratio between active power to the apparent power, because we know that active power is given by this formula, that is Vi cos phi, and apparent power is given by this formula Vi. So if Vi will cancel, then this will give the power factor cos phi. So this was the three definitions of power factor. Now let's discuss what is the importance of power factor in any electric system. So to discuss the importance of power factor, first let's see the disadvantage of low power factor. What will occur if our system is having low power factor? So the disadvantages are: first, large cross-sectional area of conductor. If power factor is low, then the cross-sectional of area of conductor will be very large. Second is the higher I square R losses. I square R losses will be high. Efficiency will be low. Less voltage regulation. Regulation of voltage will be very low. Poor voltage regulation. The regulation of voltage value will be very poor, and less voltage at terminals. At the output terminals, we will get very less voltage. Reduction in kW capacity. So this was the disadvantage of having the low power factor. So someone might have a question that how the system is having low power factor. So the reasons behind the low power factor are as follows. So the reasons are: if you are using induction motor, the system will having a low power factor obviously, and we are using induction motor in every industrial applications. Agricultural and pump set will also cause the low power factor. Arc furnace and induction furnace also causes the low power factor. Arc lamps and electric discharge lamps. Arc welding causes the low power factor. Overrating of equipments and increase in system voltage. These all are the causes for the low power factor. Now let's say if we improve the power factor, what are the advantages for improving the power? So the small cross section of conductor, increased kW capacity, reduction in I square R losses, efficiency will be high, better voltage regulation, and low running cost will be there. So these are the advantages. So now let's see the methods to improve the power factor. So there are so many types of methods there to improve the power factor. First method is using the high power factor motors. Do not use the low power factor motor. Second method is the using the phase advancer with induction motor. With induction motor, you can use the phase advancer, which just take the angle, which decrease the angle between voltage and current. And if angle is less between the voltage and current, phase angle is less, then you can say that the power factor is improved. So phase advancer can be used to increase and decrease the angle between the voltage and current. Third one is the using the capacitor booster. We know that in case of capacitor, current always leads the voltage. So if you use the capacitor booster, it will increase the power factor and it will decrease the angle between voltage and current. Also, you can use the static capacitor because capacitor is not movable, right? So you can use the capacitor bank to improve the power factor. And last one is the using the synchronous condenser. So by this all methods, you can improve the power factor. Now let's discuss the energy consumption. So let's discuss one example of the calculation of energy consumption. So let's take one example. If a bungalow has a following load connected in it: one 40-watt tube lights, that is 12 numbers, switched on for 4 hours per day. 60-watt ceiling fan, that is 7, and it is switched for 6 hours per day. 100-watt 165-liter refrigerator, which is switched on for 12 hours per day. 100-watt TV set, which is switched on for 5 hours per day. 40-watt computer, which is switched on 8 hours per day. 500-watt AC, which is 2 and which is switched on 6 hours per day. 100-watt water pump, which is switched on for 2 hours per day. And we have to calculate the monthly electricity bill of this bungalow. And we are taking the energy cost as 5 rupees per unit. So let's calculate. So tube light is having 40 watt and it is 12 and it is working hour is 4. So what you have to do is you have to multiply the 40 watt into 4, that is WH capacity, but you have to it will be for one tube light only. If there is a 12 tube light, then you have to multiply it with 12, so it will be 40 into 12 into 4, so it will be 90-20 watt hour per day. So for all the appliances you have to follow the same table. So 60 into 7 into 6, refrigerator 100 into 1 into 12, 100 into 1 into 5 for TV, and then again 40 into 1 into 8, 500 into 2 into 6, 100 into 1 into 2. So this all are the watt hour used per day. Now if we add all the watt hour capacity, then it will be 14,460 watt hour used in that bungalow per day. Now we have to calculate the electricity bill. So total energy consumption per day is 14,460 watt hour. If we convert it into kilowatt hour, then it will be 14.46 watt hour. So the monthly energy consumption in kilowatt hour is 14.46 is for one day, and into 30, so it will be 434 kilowatt hour. This is for the whole month. Now cost of energy per unit is 5. 1 kWh is 1 unit. So for 1 unit, if 5 rupees, then 434 into 5 will give you the electricity bill of 2170 rupees. So in this way, you can calculate the energy consumption used in your house also. So this was all about the energy consumptions and calculation of energy bill. And in previously video, we have seen the whole chapter, that is electrical installation. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned.